All right, strap in, everybody. We're going deep on Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Oh, a classic.
Yeah, and I know a lot of you are familiar with this one already, but
It's one of those books that you can keep coming back to.
absolutely. And there's so much to unpack. So we're going to take our time with this one. This is going to be a three-parter. We're talking financial success, but really getting to the heart of it, like what makes something an asset? What makes something a liability?
And it's told as a story, right? It's not just
Yes.
like a how-to manual.
I love that about it, yeah.
He contrasts his own, upbringing with two dads, his biological dad and then his best friend's dad.
Yeah, the Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Exactly.
It's such a great way to frame this whole conversation, right? It's like having these two mentors, battling it out in your head.
Yeah, because they both have such different perspectives. And it's kind of like it brings out that internal struggle that a lot of us have, right? Where we have that traditional path that we're told to follow. You study hard, you get a good job, and you hope that that leads to financial security.
Yeah, like work for money.
Yeah, exactly.
But then there's this other voice, this rich dad voice, that's saying, wait a minute, there's a different way. You need to make money work for you.
And that's, I think, one of the biggest takeaways from the book, right? This whole idea that the rich don't work for money.
They don't.
Money works for them.
Yeah, I love how he hammers that point home. I mean, there's that one line, right, where he says, I don't work for money. Money works for me. It's like a mantra.
It is. It's like a complete mind shift.
It is. It is.
And I think that's so important because a lot of us, we get stuck in that thinking of trading our time for money, and that's all we know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so how do we actually make that happen? That's where the whole asset versus liability conversation comes in.
Yes. And this is, I think, the foundation of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? Understanding the difference.
Yeah. And it's not, some complex financial jargon. It's really simple.
Yes.
Like he boils it down to an asset puts money in your pocket.
Yeah.
A liability takes money out.
It takes it out, yeah.
Simple as that.
And he even uses those like cash flow diagrams.
Yes, I love them.
Where you can see it visually, right? Like an asset has money flowing into your pocket.
Yes.
A liability, the money's flowing out.
And it makes it so clear, like when you see it laid out like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this is where it gets interesting for our listeners, right? Think about your own life. What are the things that you have that are putting money in your pocket, and what things are draining your resources? Because it's not always obvious.
No. And what we often think of as assets, like our house, might actually be...
Ooh, he's got a lot to say about houses.
Oh, he does.
Yeah.
He really challenges that traditional notion that a house is an asset.
Yeah, a lot of people would say, like, that's their biggest asset.
Yeah, it's their pride and joy. It's their
investment.
Their investment.
Yeah.
But if it's draining your cash flow each month, if you're paying, a huge mortgage payment, you're constantly having to, pay for repairs and property taxes and all of that.
Yeah, that's taking money out.
It's taking money out.
And then, it's not really an asset in that case, is it?
No, it's a liability in his eyes.
So instead of helping you build wealth,
yeah,
it could be holding you back.
Absolutely. And he uses his own fathers again as examples, right?
I love that, yeah.
His poor dad was so focused on owning that big house. That was his biggest investment. That's what he was most proud of.
Yeah.
But it led to financial stress. He was constantly having to work to keep up with those expenses. It kept him trapped.
While Rich Dad,
yes,
he focused on owning income-generating real estate.
Right, like rental properties.
Yeah, so it's not about saying you should never own a house.
No.
It's about
the timing. It's about understanding the cash flow. Like, is it putting money in your pocket or is it taking money out?
It's about flipping the script on that traditional advice, right? Like, we're always told, work hard, save up, buy a house.
Yeah.
But he's saying, build assets that can buy you a house.
And more.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where this whole rat race concept comes into play. Have you ever felt like you're on that treadmill working, paying bills, but never really?
I think we've all been there at some point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's that feeling of working hard but never getting ahead.
Yeah.
And Kiyosaki says that so many people are trapped in this rat race, even those with high-paying jobs, because they're working for money, they're spending that money on liabilities, and then they have to work even harder to keep up with those expenses. So it's like a vicious cycle.
How do we break free?
Yeah, is it just about making more money?
Yeah.
Well, Kiyosaki would say, no, not necessarily.
It's bigger than that.
It's a change in mindset. It's about developing financial literacy, understanding how money truly works.
Yeah, he talks a lot about that, doesn't he? Like, it's almost like You need to train your money muscle. It's
Yeah,
like
it's like a skill that you can develop.
yeah.
Like physical fitness, you have to train it, you have to work at it.
Yeah, it's a muscle. It's a muscle.
Yeah, and we can't just rely on our employers or the government to take care of our financial future.
Absolutely not.
We have to take control, we have to educate ourselves.
Yeah, be in the driver's seat.
Exactly.
And one of the biggest obstacles, that he talks about is fear. I mean, he has this really powerful quote. He says, the fear of being poor, which is the fear that motivated them to become rich, becomes magnified, and they fear losing it all.
Yeah, that's so true. And it's something that I think a lot of people can relate to, right? Even when you're on the path to success, that fear is still there.
Yeah.
And it can hold you back from taking risks or pursuing new opportunities because you're so afraid of losing what you've gained.
So how do we conquer that fear? What does Rich Dad suggest?
Well, he's a big proponent of continuous learning.
Yes. Yes.
He talks about attending seminars, reading books, learning from mentors, even if it's in an area that you're not necessarily familiar with. His whole philosophy is what I know makes me money, what I don't know loses me money.
And the more you know, the more confident you are, right?
Absolutely.
In making those decisions.
Yeah, it's like any skill, the more you practice, the better you get at it.
Yeah. And he actually outlines 10 steps in the book to help people awaken their financial genius.
Yes.
Do we have time to touch on those before we?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, great.
Those are like the key foundational principles, right?
All right, let's do it. So step 1, what's the first step on this path?
He starts with finding a strong reason. Like, what is your why?
Okay, so it's not enough to just want to be rich.
No, it has to be something deeper than that.
It's got to be a bigger purpose.
Yeah, like what is driving you? Is it, providing for your family? Is it leaving a legacy?
Okay, so connect it to something that's really going to fuel you.
Exactly.
Okay, and then what are some of the other steps?
Well, then he talks about making daily choices that are in alignment with that purpose.
Okay, yeah.
Choosing your friends carefully.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah, because, he says, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Oh, I heard that one, yeah.
So who are you surrounding yourself with?
Yeah. Who are those people that are influencing you?
Exactly.
Okay, so it's all about alignment, isn't it? Like aligning your actions, your environment.
Absolutely.
Like what else? What else is in there?
Mastering a formula.
Okay, so this is like finding your strategy.
Yeah, is it real estate investing? Is it starting an online business?
Yeah.
What is that formula that works for you?
Okay, so get specific, right? Don't just wish for it, figure out how.
Have a plan.
Yeah, okay. And he also talks about paying yourself first.
Yes. One of the most important principles.
This is where things get really interesting. So this means before you even pay your bills.
Before you do anything else.
Okay.
You're setting aside a portion of your income and investing it in your asset column.
So you're prioritizing your future self.
You are.
Even before your present needs.
And it might seem counterintuitive, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But it's about creating that discipline.
And I imagine that forces you to get creative.
It does.
And managing your money.
Yeah, because now you have less to work with, so you're forced to find ways to generate more income.
Yeah. Okay. And what else is on that list?
Paying your advisors well.
Okay, so this is about
finding competent professionals.
Yeah, having the right people on your team.
Lawyers, accountants, financial advisors.
And not just anybody, right?
No, you want to find people who are investors themselves.
Okay, they got skin in the game.
Exactly. They understand it from a practical perspective.
Yeah, okay. I'm loving this. Keep going. What else?
Getting something for nothing.
Whoa, wait a minute. How do you do that?
Well, it's about being resourceful. It's about finding creative ways to leverage your assets.
Okay.
To acquire more assets without having to put in additional capital.
So it's not about magic or getting something for free. It's about cleverness.
Exactly, like finding those win-win situations.
Okay, I like that.
Negotiating a great deal, finding a strategic partner.
Yeah. Okay, and then what else?
Buying luxuries with assets, not earned income.
So this is like, once you have those assets working for you, then you can use that money to
enjoy your life.
Yeah, to reward yourself.
Exactly, but it's not coming from your paycheck. It's coming from the income that your assets are generating.
Yeah. Okay. What else is on that list?
Finding heroes.
Okay, this is interesting. Tell me more.
It's about finding people who have achieved what you aspire to.
So these are like your role models.
Yeah, people who inspire you to reach for greater heights. Successful entrepreneurs, investors, even historical figures, whoever embodies the values that you admire.
Yeah. Find those people that have done it before you.
Exactly. It's about showing you that it's possible.
Okay. And then finally,
Teaching others.
yes, he talks a lot about teaching.
He does, because he believes that teaching is the ultimate form of learning. When you teach someone else, you solidify your own understanding.
It forces you to really get it.
It does, and it also empowers others to achieve their own goals.
It's like paying it forward
Exactly.
and creating that ripple effect of financial literacy.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Wow, those 10 steps. I mean, they really do provide a roadmap, don't they?
They do. It's a framework for achieving financial success.
I love it.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
I know. We've got so much more to unpack. But we're going to save that for part 2. We're going to delve into the rich dad perspective on real estate, talk about different types of income, explore his strategies for finding investment opportunities.
We're going to dive even deeper.
Yeah, we're going deep. So until then, think about what resonated with you the most from today's conversation.
Yeah, what's one thing that you can apply to your own life?
We'll be back soon with part 2 of our Rich Dad, Poor Dad deep dive.
Welcome back. It's great to be diving back into Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah, lots to unpack still.
We were talking about assets and liabilities and how Rich Dad kind of challenges what we think of as an asset.
Yeah, he shakes things up a bit.
Yeah, and one of the things that he really focuses on is this idea of a house. Like, a lot of people think of their house as their biggest asset.
It's the American dream, right?
Yes, yeah.
To own a home.
But Rich Dad, he kind of throws a wrench in that hole.
He does.
Yeah. He argues that for a lot of people, a house is actually a liability.
Especially if it's draining your cash flow each month. Yeah, if you've got that big mortgage payment and property taxes and repairs,
All of that.
that's taking money out of your pocket every month.
It is. It's not putting money in.
So how can it be an asset in that case?
Yeah, it's a liability in his view.
And he uses the example of his own dad's to illustrate this point, right?
Yeah, it's a great example.
Poor dad saw his house as this symbol of success.
His pride and joy.
Yeah, it was his investment.
But it led to financial stress, right?
Yeah.
He was constantly worried about keeping up with those expenses.
Yeah, it kept him trapped
Yeah.
in that cycle of working for money.
Yeah. And Rich Dad, on the other hand, he focused on owning income-generating real estate.
So rental property.
Yeah, things that were putting money back into his pocket each month.
So it's not that owning a house is bad.
No,
It's about the timing.
exactly.
It's about understanding where you are financially.
And understanding the cash flow.
Yeah, and making sure that it's working for you, not
Yeah.
against you.
Yeah. I think that's a key takeaway from Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
It's about thinking critically about your financial decisions.
Yeah.
Not just accepting what you've always been told.
Question those assumptions.
Absolutely.
And he doesn't just stop at real estate.
No, he doesn't.
He challenges a lot of the traditional thinking around finances, like job security.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
He sees a traditional job, especially for someone who lacks financial literacy, as a form of financial slavery.
Oh, that's a strong word.
It is, but his point is that when you're solely reliant on a job, you're trading your time for money.
Yeah.
You're limited in how much you can earn. You're at the mercy of your employer, the economy, all these external factors.
Yeah, it's like you're stuck in that hamster wheel,
Exactly.
just running and running, but never really getting anywhere.
And that's where he says you need to focus on building your own business.
So this is where entrepreneurship comes in.
Exactly. Even if you're still working a job, you can start to build something for yourself.
It's about creating multiple streams of income.
Absolutely.
So you're not just relying on that one paycheck.
Yeah, he uses the example of Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's.
Yeah.
He didn't get rich from selling burgers. He got rich from owning the real estate.
So it's about looking beyond the obvious.
Yeah, finding those hidden opportunities.
Yeah, I like that.
That most people miss.
Okay, so how do we develop that vision, that ability to spot those opportunities?
He talks a lot about building your financial IQ.
Financial IQ, what does that even mean?
Well, he breaks it down into 4 key areas:
Okay.
accounting, investing, markets, and the law.
So it's about understanding how money works.
Yeah, like being able to read financial statements,
Okay.
knowing how different investments work,
Uh-huh.
understanding market trends,
Yeah.
and how taxes and legal structures can impact your wealth.
So it's like having a whole toolkit of financial knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense. But knowledge is one thing. It's putting it into action that's often the hardest part.
That's true, and he acknowledges that.
Yeah.
He talks a lot about overcoming fear.
Especially the fear of failure.
Yeah, because that can really paralyze you.
Yeah, if you're so afraid of making a mistake.
It can prevent you from taking any risks.
Exactly.
But he says winners are not afraid of losing, but losers are.
So it's about reframing failure,
Yeah.
not seeing it as the end,
Seeing it as part of the process.
as a learning opportunity.
Exactly.
And he also talks about managing your emotions,
Yeah, that's a big one.
because fear and greed can really drive bad decisions,
They can.
especially when it comes to money.
Like chasing those get-rich-quick schemes.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
making impulsive purchases.
It's about having the discipline to stay focused on your goals.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've talked about these overarching principles, but Rich Dad, Poor Dad also gives some practical advice, right?
It does. It does.
Like, remember those 10 steps to awaken your financial genius?
Yeah, let's dive into those a bit deeper.
Okay, because this is where the rubber meets the road.
Absolutely.
So we talked about finding a strong reason, your why.
Yeah.
Once you have that, then it's about making daily choices that support that purpose.
Aligning your actions with your goals.
Exactly. Being mindful of how you spend your time, your money, your energy.
And he's a big believer in surrounding yourself with the right people.
Oh, yeah. He talks a lot about that.
He says, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Choose your friends wisely,
Exactly.
because they can have a huge influence on your mindset
They can.
and your success.
So surround yourself with people who inspire you,
Yeah, people who support your dreams.
who lift you up.
And then he talks about mastering a formula.
Yeah, finding a strategy that works for you.
So is this like a specific investment strategy or a business model?
It could be.
Okay, so it's about getting specific, right?
Exactly.
Not just saying I want to be rich, but figuring out how.
Yeah, what's your plan?
Okay, and then there's the principle of paying yourself first.
Yes, such an important principle.
This is where you set aside money for your future self.
Before you pay your bills, before you do anything else.
So it's about prioritizing your financial well-being,
Absolutely.
even before your current expenses.
And it forces you to get creative.
Yeah, because now you have less money to work with.
Right. So you have to find ways to generate more income.
Yeah, yeah. And then he talks about paying your advisors well.
Yeah, finding competent professionals who can guide you.
Lawyers, accountants, financial planners.
Exactly.
And he stresses the importance of finding advisors who are investors themselves.
Yeah, people who have skin in the game.
Okay, so they're not just giving you theoretical advice.
They're speaking from experience.
They've been there, done that.
Yeah,
And then he has this interesting concept of getting something for nothing.
that always catches people's attention.
Yeah, how do you get something for nothing?
Well, it's not about magic or getting something for free.
Okay.
It's about being resourceful,
Yeah.
finding creative ways to leverage your assets.
So it's like finding those win-win situations
Exactly.
where everyone benefits.
It could be negotiating a favorable deal,
Okay.
finding a strategic partner, even bartering your skills or services.
So it's about thinking outside the box.
Absolutely.
And then he talks about buying luxuries with assets, not earned income.
Yeah, this is about aligning your spending with your goals.
So instead of using your paycheck to fund your lifestyle,
You're using the income generated by your assets.
to reward yourself.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's about building a system where your money is working for you.
exactly.
And then there's the step of finding heroes.
Yeah, finding people who inspire you.
Successful entrepreneurs, investors,
Yeah.
historical figure.
Whoever embodies the values that you admire.
So it's about surrounding yourself with those positive influences
Absolutely.
and reminding yourself that financial success is possible. And then finally, he talks about teaching others.
Yes, one of the most important steps.
He's a big believer in paying it forward.
He is, because teaching is the ultimate form of learning.
Yeah, when you teach someone else, you solidify your own understanding.
And you empower others to achieve their own goals.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
Wow, those 10 steps, they really provide a comprehensive framework, don't they,
They do.
for achieving financial success.
It's a step-by-step guide.
I love it.
And we're not done yet.
I know. There's still so much more to cover.
We still need to explore the rich dad perspective on real estate.
Yeah.
Delve into different types of income, unpack his strategies for finding investment opportunities.
This is getting really exciting.
It is.
I can't wait to dive into those topics in part 3.
I'm looking forward to it.
So until then, keep those wheels turning. Think about how these principles can apply to your own life, and we'll see you back here soon for the final part of our Rich Dad, Poor Dad deep dive. Welcome back. Ready for the final stretch of our Rich Dad, Poor Dad deep dive.
Absolutely. It's been quite a journey.
We've covered so much ground: assets, liabilities, mindset shifts, those 10 steps.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. But there's one more key concept that we haven't fully explored yet, and that's the different types of income.
Yeah, this is where things get really interesting.
Because Rich Dad really challenges the traditional way we think about making money, right?
He does. He goes beyond that whole earned income model.
Yeah, most of us are only familiar with earned income, the money we get from our jobs.
Right, that's our 9-to-5 grind.
Yeah, but Kiyosaki argues that focusing solely on earned income keeps you stuck in that rat race, remember?
Exactly. It's that hamster wheel we were talking about.
So he introduces two other types of income that are essential for building wealth.
Passive income and portfolio income.
Okay, break those down for me. What's passive income?
Passive income is money you earn without actively working for it. It's like creating a stream of income that flows into your pocket even while you sleep.
That sounds like a dream come true.
It is. It's about putting your money to work for you.
So how do we actually create passive income? What are some examples?
Well, Kiyosaki talks a lot about rental properties, where you're earning income from tenants each month.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He also mentions royalties from books, music, or inventions.
So if you create something once,
Yeah,
it can keep generating income for you over time.
exactly. And then there's dividends from stocks, where companies pay you a share of their profits.
So this is about building assets that generate income without requiring your constant time and effort.
It's like having those money-making machines we were talking about earlier.
I like the sound of that.
And then there's portfolio income, which is money you make from investments.
So that's like buying and selling stocks, bonds, real estate.
Exactly. It could also include interest earned on investments or even capital gains from selling a business you've built.
So it's about making your money grow.
Absolutely. It's about putting your money to work in different ways.
Okay, so Rich Dad is saying that to achieve true financial freedom, we need to shift our focus from earned income to building those streams of passive and portfolio income.
That's his philosophy, yeah.
It's about having your money work just as hard as you are.
If not harder.
And this brings us to another important point. Taxes.
Yes, tax.
Not the most exciting topic, but a crucial one.
Absolutely, because taxes can have a huge impact on your overall wealth.
And Rich Dad argues that the wealthy use legal strategies to minimize their tax burden.
They do. They understand the tax code and they use it to their advantage.
So this is where having a good team of advisors comes in handy, right?
Absolutely. You need experts who can help you navigate those complexities.
Accountants, lawyers, financial planners, people who can help you make smart decisions.
Exactly. It's about building a team that supports your financial goals.
Okay, so we've talked about those 10 steps, those different types of income and taxes, but there's one big question that I think a lot of people are still grappling with. How do we overcome that fear of failure?
Yeah, that fear can be paralyzing.
Because it can hold us back from taking action, from actually putting these principles into practice.
But Kiyosaki has a lot to say about fear. He argues that it's a natural human emotion.
Yeah, but we don't have to let it control us.
Exactly. And he says failure is part of the process of success.
It's like that saying, you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs.
Exactly. It's about embracing failure as a learning opportunity, a stepping stone.
So instead of being afraid to make a mistake, it's about learning from those mistakes and using them to fuel our future success.
That's the rich dad mindset. He also talks about developing financial courage.
Financial courage, what's that?
It's that willingness to step outside your comfort zone, to take calculated risks.
Even when you're not sure of the outcome.
Exactly. It's about having faith in yourself and your ability to figure things out.
So it's about believing in your own resourcefulness.
Absolutely. And Kiyosaki suggests finding heroes, people who have achieved financial success despite facing adversity.
So they can inspire you to push past your fears.
Exactly. It's a reminder that you're not alone on this journey.
Wow, we've covered so much in this deep dive. Rich Dad, Poor Dad really offers a wealth of knowledge, doesn't it?
It does. It's packed with insights.
From defining assets and liabilities to those 10 steps to different types of income, overcoming fear, it's a lot to process.
But it's all about taking action, right?
Absolutely. It's not enough to just read the book or listen to this deep dive.
You have to put these principles into practice.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with one final thought. What's one small step you can take today to start building your own path to financial freedom?
It could be anything. Setting up a budget, opening an investment account.
Reading a book on financial literacy, talking to someone you admire about their journey.
The key is to just get started.
Take action, no matter how small, and keep moving forward. We hope this deep dive has inspired you to create the life you deserve.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you on our next deep dive.